Hello, this is Stasia Bliss. I'm here with my very own blood sister, Julie Swenson, who is a great inspiration to me. She is a massage therapist. She's an essential oil expert, craniosacral therapist. She does emotional release. She's so amazing and well-rounded and inspiring in so many ways. And to me, she really embodies the essence of the Muse, one who's in tune with her sensual essence. And so I wanted to invite you here, Julie, to have a conversation with me.
I'm so excited to be here with you. I love the conversations we have, and I guess we get to have one for everybody else.
I know, I thought we shouldn't just hog all our great conversations.
Yes, fantastic.
Is there anything you want to share about what you feel like your purpose is in life right now, or your particular focus for where you're putting your energy?
Well, it's kind of interesting that you word it like that, because this morning my husband Curtis and my sister-in-law Jules, we sat and just went over our last bit of details for our soul purpose. Well, we're calling it our life purpose discovery course that we're going to do next week. So that's kind of been one of the focuses. Yeah, it's going to be fun. Yeah, lots of good stuff about that, but really reminding me to think about my own life purpose, which I have a lot over the years. And I think that has a lot to do with remembering the truth of who I am, and also helping others and assisting others in remembering that truth for themselves. So yeah, that's me, I guess.
Yeah, something I feel that you and I have so much in common, and why I'm so excited to have this conversation. Just feeling like we both are in the service of empowering other people to be who they came here to be. So
yes.
I love that about you. So I wanted to ask you what your description of sensuality is.
And I like that question, and I took a minute to think about it before we got on today, and the thoughts that came to me were that really sensuality is being present in my body. It's feeling, it's appreciating the woman that I am. So that's the way I think of sensuality.
Nice.
It's simple.
Do you feel that sensuality is mainly a woman's trait, or do you feel like men can have sensuality as well? How does that translate?
Well, definitely, and I think they can be very in tune with that, but maybe not as well. So I think it is a good thing for us to think about as women, and for men to think about in maybe a really holistic way, more holistic way than they normally do, perhaps.
So my goal with doing this 40-day journey, and I think I mentioned a little to you on the phone, is to inspire women to feel comfortable in their body, just as you described it, being present and fully inhabiting their form. And that, to me, sensuality really means that we're in touch with our senses. Like, sensuality comes from the root word senses, and that our skin and our, the scents that we love to smell, and the food that we love to eat, that, the music that we love, that we allow to move us, that being sensual is being in our bodies and expressing how we enjoy and interface with this physical world through our senses. And so, as a woman who, I feel like I went through my own journey of feeling comfortable and safe being a woman, like being a sensual woman, and realizing that there was a disconnect for a while between feeling like a woman and worrying that if I was too comfortable in my body, that would be mistranslated, that society might translate that as something inappropriate or sexual or dangerous, or too inviting or something, until I really allowed myself to say, like, I'm here in a woman's body, and I like, when I make the sound when I eat something, like, that should be okay. Like, that should be part of reality, and that men also experience their senses just like us, right? And so
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think that maybe a man feels less able to really inhabit and use those senses, because maybe, my question is, maybe we as women aren't fully owning it to the degree that we let them now find their way to really, like, embody that too. I don't know. This is my question. What do you think about that?
Um, yeah, yeah. I think that's a good point. That us being who we are, and I think that's true all the time as we go and see people being the truth of who they are, like acting in that place, then that always gives us permission. Oh, I can be that too. I can be who I am. And so that definitely is true, I think, with the sensuality piece as well, with men versus women, that we can be that example to each other about what healthy, a healthy way to look at our bodies and ourselves and being here and experiencing this world really is.
Thank you. So you, to me, really embody this grace and this elegance that I feel is woman. And I'm wondering if you can tell people, like, how do you think that you arrived at that space where you do feel comfortable in your body and with who you are? Is there anything you did, or any practices that helped you?
Ah, yeah. And as I thought about this question, I just made this big long list of really wonderful pieces of my life that
Cool.
has been part of this journey for me. I think I started out as a person that did not necessarily know who I was or really feel comfortable being a woman or being myself, and so it has been a journey. It has been an opening and unfolding of this part of myself. Uh, where do I even start? Do you want me to just
I mean, you
um,
can read
pick
your
a few
list if you
things?
want, or, like, I'd love to just hear it rattled off too, if you have it.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And then maybe you can ask me about which ones you want me to elaborate on. I
Sure.
listed being part of women's groups, of learning to appreciate cycles and stages of a woman's life. I I focused on dancing a little bit, especially belly dancing and creativity. I have put a lot of focus on um, how what I feel comfortable wearing, and especially um, scarves. I have to say scarves, so we could talk about that.
I
Um,
love the way you dress. It's such an inspiration. It's so feminine, and I love it.
and of course, spending personal time and journaling and just getting really familiar with my feelings and what how I felt, and that was okay to feel that way. Creating a sanctuary for myself to do that in was part of that, and I feel like definitely my healing work, as you mentioned, has allowed me to come into a place of trusting myself more and supporting others. And then I have to mention a real feminine piece, which is giving birth and nurturing a child, because there is something very sensual about that, and that actually probably opened the door for me to becoming a more sensual person. And then I've also had lots of wonderful books that have helped me along on that journey too, and examples from others. So that's my little list.
Yeah. So I have some questions. First of all, I got so many chills when you said childbirth, and I know that is definitely true for me as well. Just really, like, the visceral experience of birthing a person is definitely makes you get in your body and have to
Yeah.
feel comfortable with it. the way that it is. But I have a question, maybe for women who are watching and who are maybe not feeling totally comfortable in who they are, and maybe feel like uh, they might be judged or other people's opinions for really stepping into themselves. Like what kind of advice or words of wisdom would you offer someone who isn't feeling comfortable in who they are?
Um, well, I think it comes down to first that we have to know ourselves. We have to get to know ourselves. And so one of the things that has helped me, one of the pieces was a book that I really loved called Simple Abundance. And Simple Abundance, I don't know if you've read that one, Stasia, but
I'm not sure.
it was just a daily book, a daily meditation kind of, that took me, like the first few pages of the book are about things like taking an excursion for yourself, just going out and spending time maybe in a shop, just noticing what things resonate with you, something like that, or some creative expression in some way. And perhaps one of them was also putting together I'm forgetting the exact words that she called it, but a drawer or a little chest that you could keep things in it that kind of awaken you to that, maybe that sensual piece. Like I have my chest in my room that just has all my flowy clothes that maybe I wore belly dancing, but not on an everyday basis necessarily, or other things in there that really spark something in me. So having that, just having that in there is something that I can go and access I'll pull out a scarf to do my personal time with, so that I'm feeling that as I'm sitting in my sanctuary with my personal space and time.
I love the suggestion. It's like the sensuality box.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it just is lovely. It's a lovely suggestion that I actually think a lot of women don't think about, is just giving permission to love all the things about yourself that you actually love, like figuring out what those things are, and that they're unique to you, and that no one else might feel the same way about it, and that's okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like that. And I guess I have to really emphasize that personal time piece in my sanctuary. And I can create a sanctuary wherever I am if I don't have one at the moment, which right now it's kind of in flux, but I can create that space wherever I am. And then I get to just dive into who I am in connection with God, and with just the life I've been given, the people that surround me, and my deepest desires for playing out those roles in my life. I don't know, just I've spent a lot of time doing that, and one thing I've done with it is I've decided I wanted to be really dedicated to that practice, and so I've done like you're doing the 40-day Muse. I do a 40-day personal time that I'm going to be in that space, making sure to do that every single day for this period of 40 days, and have a specific intention and journal a lot through that, and then just have that time that has really, I think, pushed me forward in this getting to know myself and really appreciating who I am and being okay with myself, and therefore being able to be okay in my body, and love the person that I am.
Okay, I love that. So when you say create a sanctuary, and you say you can do that anywhere you are, what do you think are the key elements that make a space your sanctuary?
Mm, I love that question too. When I very, very first started doing my personal time, I had this little square quilt that I had created from some fabric squares that I'd received from several women who were in a women's group with me, and I decided to make a quilt of those squares, basis of my little sanctuary spot, because I didn't have a room I could do it in at the time. So I would go into my main living room, um, at it hopefully, and spread it out, and then on it put things like a candle that I could light, some stones, some scarves, my journal, my books, um, and then play some music, turn on some relaxing, calming music. And that was my sanctuary space right there. I created it. I could clean it up quick when when I was finished. And so that has been my sanctuary from the beginning. And it's kind of just evolved into more of a room space when I have the place to do it. But I think those elements really help to put you in a space of, I don't know, joy and, the things I love are around me, and just lets me go from there to explore more.
Awesome. So questions coming to mind that I feel like a lot of women struggle with, and I feel like maybe I know that you've possibly struggled with this, but don't seem to struggle with this as much now, and that is loving your body, like loving yourself in this body that you have. And I feel like that's a struggle that a lot of women have, and I'm just wondering what you have done to love your body.
That's a great question too, and I definitely had some difficulties with loving myself, as we all do in our bodies, because sometimes they don't look like the perfect thing that we see in the media. And of course, that is not something real, something that we should give much credence to, because bodies are so varied and different and perfect that way and beautiful that way, that we need to try to let go of that being in society that we've been perpetuating. But hopefully we're taking a stand as women to be more okay with ourselves. But I remember especially when I was pregnant with my first child, and at a certain point in the pregnancy, the stretch marks started coming up over my belly, and pretty much covered my belly by the time I was done with that pregnancy. And that was a big blow for me, because I had placed a lot of importance on looking good, and that was part of who I was my body looking good. And so at that point I had to go, all right, you know what? My body is different now. And there was definitely a process of becoming more okay with that, and being okay. I had a friend that called my stomach now a badge of courage, because I had those scars to show that I had done this thing for my child and my children. And that's a great way to look at it. And just the fact that my body is really a miracle in how it functions and performs. And as I'm learning more and more about health in my body, which that's a never-ending thing, yeah. I think. But just recently, with learning more about the microbiome, and I don't know, there's so many aspects to our bodies and how they function, and it's just a miracle. And it's just so amazing that we really should appreciate that more. And I am coming to appreciate that more about myself. One of the books that I read kind of early on that a friend recommended to me is, I have it sitting right here, happen to, is called Woman, and it's by Natalie, I don't know how to say her last name, Angier. I don't know if you can see it.
Oh, nice. Okay.
But it's
haven't seen that one.
This book talks about all the processes of a woman's body in such an amazing way.
Wow.
Like the detailed intricacies of how our cycles work and different stages in life. And just like, you cannot read that and go, I hate my body. You know, you have to go, oh my gosh, my body is amazing. You know,
ooh, I want to get it and make it part of this.
Yes,
Lovely.
yes. And I just think that as we explore ourselves, our bodies, and our emotions in ourselves, that we find things that, you know, that are unique and good about us. And I don't know, that's just of how I feel.
I love that. That book looks wonderful. Awesome. So the question popping in my mind, and I'm just following the thread of questions, but as a woman who feels more dropped into herself and has embraced this and also sees other women where they're at and can have compassion for that, what would you say to the men in reality right now about how to treat women so that they feel comfortable being women?
Well, my husband does a fantastic job at cherishing me. And so definitely you want the people in your life to be people that cherish you. And if you have men in your life that are not cherishing you, that are not appreciating you for who you are, and the body that you have, then that's not a good thing. And I hope that you would allow yourself to be surrounded by people who appreciate and love you and tell you. He's really good. Curtis, my husband, is really good at telling me how beautiful I am, and appreciating me in other aspects as well. And one of the things over the years that I've encouraged him to do is not only tell me how beautiful I am, but also appreciate the different aspects of me, my mind and my heart, and the things I say and the things that I do, and make sure that he's appreciating those as well, because it makes me feel like a more whole person than sometimes when it's just about the physical. It can be you know, what word am I searching for?
I want to say degrading, even though it's never intended to be so. You know, like it's like, okay, I'm pretty, and you know, like it's not. I know what you're saying, and degrading is not even the right
it's
word.
Like fractioning.
It's
like fractioning into pieces instead of the whole.
Right.
And so yes, and so all of that is important, I think. So
you would tell
maybe
a
teaching
man
to do that. Yeah.
I like that. And actually I found as a woman too, in the last few years, to note that men actually also appreciate not only being told that they are handsome or that they are strong, but also men like to hear all the different qualities that they have about them, and that it's an equal exchange there, you know. I mean, it's often that like a beautiful man will get told he's beautiful a lot, just like a beautiful woman, or a very intelligent man will get told he's very intelligent or good at business a lot. But like a woman as well, but it's like all of the qualities, getting a chance to note and bring up all of the qualities. You know, I have a very good friend right now that is so good at complimenting all the different nuances, like even little things. Like I love the way that you know, said that on the phone to that person. You were so polite, and the way that you spoke to your child right now that made them feel more whole. Like that was so cool that you know, took that time for yourself right now and got centered before you turned on the car. Like he just notices all these little things, and he's really taught me a really beautiful thing about gratitude and appreciation, and it does do wonders for your sense of self when you hear those reflections.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I agree. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
I love that.
So yeah, I think it goes both ways there, and really like helping the men to appreciate and step into their sensual nature is like giving them permission to be great at all these parts of them. You know, like I know your son is a great musician, and that people probably tell him that he's a great musician a lot, and there's probably other qualities about him that he doesn't hear as much. Maybe from his wife he does, but I just think about men that are creative, and that's like, oh, we do shower them with so much attention on their creativity, but they, like us, are whole beings, and in order to be able to embody and express all of those aspects of self that men and women alike, we kind of need to hear it sometimes just to register, oh yeah, that is in me. Don't you think?
Yeah, I agree. I think it is good to tune in and notice those things, and that when we do notice them, that we can speak them. Yeah,
Yeah.
speak them out loud to those people that
Yeah.
need to hear them. Yeah.
I feel like by doing this really like allows us all to really embody more, to drop into these bodies. And so I feel like that's what we're really being asked to do more and more. Like our ability to heal also means that we're present in our body enough that all of our life force is there with us. And so sometimes, like if we're injured or we have a dis-ease in our body or we have an emotional trauma, like we fracture, we disassociate with our body a little bit, and we're not like fully in ourselves. We're a little bit out. And out, don't you think, as an energy worker, you
Mm-hmm.
notice someone's not fully embodied if they have some kind of a trauma or an illness. And so I feel like one way to help each other drop in is to like note and speak these appreciations and these gratitudes to ourselves, but also to each other, to help each other ground ourselves back in and fully inhabit again. Because the only way we can really heal is if we're fully inhabited, in my opinion. True.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. And I guess the first step in that is just recognizing, am I really in my body? Am I really connecting with those, my heart, and how grounded do I feel, and noticing those things about ourselves. And then where we're missing, where we're not feeling those things, that's when we get to start to go through some of these processes of learning to love ourselves, and then asking for what we need from others, and then offering that to them as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have one more question, and this comes from a dream that I had last night.
Oh.
I had this dream last night that I was getting married, and my wedding dress was a Batman costume.
Wow.
It was like a Batman dress, and I was coloring the cuffs of it with a black permanent marker. And I don't remember any other person in the dream, but I know it was a wedding dress, and I know it was Batman. And so when I woke up and I was driving, pondering it in the car, I was like, I think I just got married to my superhero self. And so I was
Yes.
pondering like what that means to marry what you think your superhero self is. And so I'm wondering what that would be for you if you like would marry the part of you that you feel is like your superpower. What what that might look like for you. Surprise question.
Wow. I remember going to a class once where we chose a superhero and did a superhero pose and all of that. And I think that's great. And I can't even remember which one I chose at the time, or who I chose, what I made up. But at the moment, as you're speaking, I just feel like some kind of I want to say something where it is coming forth out of where I'm seeing and recognizing in others, and then able to bring them toward who they are and let them embody that. So I don't know what that would be.
Yeah, that sounds like a superpower.
The lighthouse self. No, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, even if you don't have a name for it, you do know what it is. And so I'm inviting you and anyone who's watching right now to also think about the same question, like what would your superpower be? And if you were to marry that in you, how would that change yourself, your person, your expression? And then also to suggest that our superpower is actually our divine energy, which is also our sensual energy that comes into our form and allows us to express our divine essence in a body. That is that energy wanting to come forth through us. It is our, God's self. It is our divine self that wants to be the greatest version of us that we came here to be. And so by really just loving ourselves and appreciating this vessel and who we are, that is activating this superhero nature, if you will. And so my goal is that everyone here walking this journey will marry their superhero self.
I love that. And I think that's really true, that we come in with that energy and with that desire, but it's our bodies that allow us to actually make it happen in this world. So being connected.
Yeah.
And
so is there any last thing that you would like to share? Maybe as a body worker, I feel like the question is, as a body worker, what do you find common in people that would maybe disallow them to be fully embodied? That they could work on or they could love. Do you notice any themes in?
Yeah. Probably one of the biggest things is this this resistance that we carry around with us. We feel it as tension. We feel it as holding ourselves a certain way, and also our thoughts become a really the pathway, ways that may not be with really embracing this idea that you're talking about. And so I suppose take some time every day to let go of that resistance, to just feel your body, like in a meditation or a personal time. Really tune in and feel your body, where you feel, let go and breathe into those areas, because we shut that out. We shut all of our uh, ability to really be sensual in this way that you're talking about, and in being able to become and be who we are, um, with that resistance, with those fears, I guess. And so just opening up, opening our hearts, breathing. The things I focus on when I'm doing this meditation are relaxing my face, because that is a place where personally I hold a lot of tension.
That's
And
good.
we do that. And I focus on breathing, of course, and on opening my heart, like feeling that actual, my heart, feeling it open, like in a very physical way. And that like those are the main focuses, I guess, of as I let myself sink deeper into a place of peace and openness, and out on the day with that in mind.
Beautiful. Are you getting any choppies over there?
Yeah, I did a little bit.
I think we still caught the whole thing of what you're
Okay.
saying, though.
Do you want me to?
No,
Okay.
I mean, what I really heard you say is resistance, which is exactly what came to my mind when I even asked you the question. I was thinking, I probably guess as a body worker that resistance is the thing that you feel the most. And it's what I like to say to clients and to myself is that when we turn that resistance around to become assistance, that it can actually be a force to assist us forward instead of keeping us down. So like in jujitsu that I'm taking with my kids, you're learning like a push pull with energy. Like at the same time you're pushing someone, you're always pulling them too. It's always got both things happening. And so when we resist something or even want to stop resisting it, like we're still resisting it. And what you're saying, like to let go, I also see as using it actually to help us let go, that we can use that same energy to release and actually propel us forward into like opening to our gifts or opening to our body. That if we can just make that little switch in our mind. You know, when I was practicing jujitsu, at first 2 weeks, I was so sore, like my muscles were so sore, and my mind kept wanting to say that something was wrong, like that I was feeling this pain and maybe I should stop. And I'm like, that's just what body thinks about pain. But since I'm master of my mind and my body, I tell it, actually, this is building me stronger, right? Like we know this is building me stronger. So I'm turning that resistance into assistance, and then pretty soon I stopped hurting and I just felt stronger in myself. And it just reminded me again how powerful that we are in our ability to shift an experience just by taking a new perspective. So yeah, just offer that little bit.
I love that. I think we can do that. I think we can definitely do that in any body pain or ache or problem that exists in our body. We can take it from this perspective of, how is my body changing? Like, how is my body transforming now? And what is it saying in this? And so I really like what you said, in we can kind of embrace that body aches and pains, and maybe see them from a different perspective.
Yeah. Well, I'm so grateful that you took some time to chat with me today. I'm wondering, is there anything else that you feel you want to share, or is there, you want to share anything if anyone's interested in this discovery journey that you are doing? If you want to say anything about that, or
Sure, I'll say a few things about it. It is a local event, so
okay.
I'm here in Utah in Salt Lake. So if you're here, we'd love to have you. We are going to spend Friday evening and Saturday all day next week exploring our life purpose, and going through some that will come out of this class with a purpose statement and also a plan to take steps in that work. Already one that we just kind of practice run for me. It was really, or for all of us. And so this one is our first paying one, and it's going to be really great.
Awesome. And do you do this often? Are you planning to do this more than this time, or?
Yeah, our plan is to do it, I think, quarterly is awesome. Kind of our thought at this time. And next month, we are putting together a love. That's the other one. This one, the life purpose, and then the love yourself. So both
Awesome.
of those.
Love it. Well, thank you so much, Julie, for speaking with me, taking time today to share your thoughts and your feelings and your presence, mostly. Yeah, really appreciative. And I know that just as you were talking about before, when we model living a certain way, it does give permission to those who are watching to be who they are. So thank you for being who you are out loud.
Thank you.
Okay.
I love being here for the conversation.
Okay, we'll talk to you soon.